record. There we go. Tamara, would you like to start with a welcome?
Yeah. I'm so grateful to everybody for coming on. I met Sarah several years ago when I was still back living in Tampa, and she did one of these for the Birth Network there, and I got so much out of it back then. I but went back and I found my notes from that conversation. Um, and I just felt like so many of us are often talking about how like we're in this business to like sit at the feet of birthing folks and not to run businesses or not to do social media. And it's like such a huge conversation in our community, how to make our websites work for us, how to get seen so that we can get hired and do this work that we love to do. And so I was really grateful to Sarah for coming back on. um, so thank you so much, Sarah, for taking some time and coming and being with us today.
Thank you for having me. All right. My name is Sarah Juliuson. I'm also known as the website Doula. I chose that name in part because I was a doula myself for over 20 years. Doula and a childbirth educator, also have a master's in perinatal nursing and trained as a midwife, so a little bit of everything over those years. Um, and along the way, built a really successful doula agency really early in that kind of era, before agencies really existed, in Vancouver, British Columbia. And people started asking me, how did you do that? Will you coach me? And so I was like, sure, I'll coach you. So I started coaching. And then I realized I really didn't like coaching unless I could mess with their websites as well. So I started messing with people's websites back in 2011, and I've been the website doula ever since. And I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of fabulous birth and postpartum professionals all over the world. Um, I started learning SEO in depth probably about 8, 9 years ago. And the first course I ever did in it, I completely geeked out. I was like mind blown. I was so excited by it. Up until that point, it had been a little bit of a Wild West in the SEO land. And, we could literally just put like doula, pregnancy, postpartum, cesarean, birth, labor, like all these, splash all these words all over our sites. And we could pretty much show up on page one because A, very few other practitioners had websites. And B, Google hadn't quite gotten as sophisticated as this is now in ensuring that search results are authentic and valid. So just about anybody could show up for just about anything. Uh, the landscape we're in now is dramatically different. There's obviously high levels of competition, and and Google is forever fine-tuning and adapting how it measures which site should show first. And we're seeing quite a bit of volatility in how sites rank. So a site that's ranking really well, there might be a big Google update and they lose a bunch of traffic. I personally, my own site, which obviously I'm an expert in this, I lost over half my traffic overnight in a Google update about a year ago. And it's taken me the rest of that year to build it back again. Um, so it is, how social media algorithms are continually changing. And, there's that saying of, you need an email list because you can depend on that, right? They're not going anywhere, unlike Facebook, which might implode any day. Um, but the same is true of search engine optimization. You will see up and down variability, and both in terms of Google updates. And yeah, Sarah says the email is just so hard to grow. It is. It is. Um, but if you have a good foundation in your search engine optimization settings, it will not fail you. It is always there for you. And the great thing about SEO is that it like keeps on working. So anything you do today only has more impact over time. And if you do something else next week, you get even more impact. And it just keeps layering on. So every blog post you write, every new page of content you add, every bit of improvement you do to your content, all of those cumulatively over time bring you closer and closer to the rankings that you're wanting, not just for your primary service, let's say birth doula, but also a range of aligned services and topics. So showing up, for example, for like local, how to find a local milk bank, um, baby stores, what to do if my baby is breech. I'm gonna let someone in there. All right. And so the great thing about this is, social media posts, they come and go, right? They disappear really quickly. You can put a ton of effort into a social media post, and 3 hours later, nobody's interacting with it anymore. That blog post you write, it's there forever. And you can go back and you can rewrite it and improve it over time. You can republish it every single year, and it will keep on working for you. And so I really want to kind of convey to you guys that search engine optimization is a long-term investment in growing your business. And it's one of the best ways that you can kind of build a strong platform for yourself to save time and energy in the long run so that people are just organically finding you and you don't have to go out and look for them. So, as Tamara said, you can focus on the work that you love. Now, that said, I say the word SEO or search engine optimization, and most of you probably have eyes that are glazing over. And oh my God, that's so complicated. I've tried looking at that before. It just feels beyond my comprehension. I don't need, like, how do I even start? If any of you speak another language, you know how you just kind of know the language. And once you know the basic rules, you can start to put things together. And SEO is a lot like that. It's just a language. It's a really simple language, in fact. And once you understand the basic rules, you'll start to see them replicated everywhere you go. When you look at your favorite coffee shop's website, when you are looking for a plumber, anytime you are online, you will start to be like, oh, I see what they're doing. That's what that is. Um, and once you learn the rules, you can apply them to everything you do with your website, every post, every page. So my goal today is to kind of review some of the absolute core rules in SEO, answer a ton of questions, and then hopefully have time to look at a few of your websites and kind of live workshop them together to see what we see and analyze. Sound good? All right. So SEO involves both on-page and off-page factors. So on-page means factors like what keyword are you targeting? How is it used on the page? How are your images named? How long is your content? How is your content formatted? Off-page includes things like setting your page title and meta description on the back-end settings using that keyword. It includes how quickly your site loads and what kind of platform your site is built on. Some platforms are better for SEO than others. WordPress being the best, I would say Showit and Squarespace being next in line, and then Wix and Weebly and the others being less advantageous for good SEO. Site speed. What else? How old is your site? Has it been live for a year or 10 years? If it's been live for 10 years, you're going to have a much better chance than a site that is brand new. How big is your site? How many posts and pages are on it? If it's a simple 2 or 3 page site versus a page that has 20 service pages and 50 blog posts, which one do you think Google is going to trust more, right? How quickly does it load? How many people are linking to it? And so are you included on local directory listings? Are there links back to you from other people's resource pages? Are you writing guest posts on other people's blogs? Are you being featured in media interviews that then link back to your site on podcasts? all of those things play into how well you're going to show up in search. So it's not just one factor. It's not just like, oh, well, I put the words on there and I'm not showing up. There's over 200 factors that Google is looking at to decide where you're going to show up in search results, which I know feels really daunting because 200 factors is a lot. Here's the deal. We don't actually know what they are. We only know what like this many of them are, and we only have control over this many of them. The majority are things that we can't change. We can't change how old our domain is. There are many of them we don't even know what they are. Google won't tell us. So it's a continual guessing game to how to speak Google's language. Um, so we do the things that we can, and we do them responsibly and using techniques that are um, kind of inherently organic and good and not trying to fool Google. So all of those updates that Google does every 6 months or so, part of what they're trying to do is get rid of sites that are trying to fool them into thinking they're about one thing when in fact they're about another. Or sites with a lot of spammy content. Unfortunately, along the way, when they do these updates, some good sites get caught in the mix as well. But there's always an ebb and a flow. But overall, your trajectory of showing up in search is going to go up. If you were to how many of you actually use Google Analytics right now and look at how often you're showing up in search results? Does anybody follow it kind of religiously, Anna?
I somebody somebody told me about the Google Search Console, and so I've
Yeah.
been on that. I don't understand any of it. But I'm hoping for the best every time I open it up.
Shannon says, we're supposed to monitor website traffic. You don't have to, but it gives you really good information. So you can see on Google Search Console, for example, which of your pages get the most visits, which are the most popular visit sites, pages on your site. You can see what terms people are typing in to find you. If you're blogging, you can see which blog posts are working for you. And if they're maybe ranking, let's say they're ranking 12, that means they're at the top of page 2 because there's typically 10 search results per page. If they're ranking at 12th, then you're like, hey, let me see if I can improve that post and get it up to page 1. So it gives you really valuable information to understand how your efforts are actually working for you and where you can just massage things a little bit to get even better results. So Google Analytics and Google Search Console are both free tools that you can install. If you guys are on Squarespace, you cannot use analytics with Squarespace. It has its own built-in analytics tool that isn't quite as robust. It doesn't give you as much good data, but it's okay, it's decent, but you can still install Google Search Console. If you have WordPress, you can use both of them. I'm not sure about Wix and Weebly and where they fall with those. But they're awesome free tools that just give you so much cool stuff to dig into. Um, Sarah says, that makes me sad because I love Wix. Wix. Wix is a great platform for people DIYing their website, especially kind of for a first website. It's okay for SEO, but not great. There's just limitations to what you can do. One of the big disadvantages is if you blog actively and then you decide you're ready to bump up to a Squarespace site or a WordPress site, even better, you can't just magically transport those blog posts over. The export function doesn't really work. So you don't want to kind of do 100 pages of content on a Wix site because it's going to be a lot of work to recreate it. Sarah says, analytics are too confusing to me. There's a ton of great free tutorials out there on analytics, and I'll include some of them in my follow-up email for you all. So if you want to do a little free course on analytics, you can do that. And I got a badge for someone clicking on their site from a search 5 times. I have no idea what that means. A badge. Anna's special.
Anna,
I
is
don't
that
have a
like, was it
badge.
like a badge from your website or was it like a badge from?
No, Google sent me an email that was like, somebody's
Oh,
clicked onto your site 5 times from a search. And I was like, okay, cool, I guess.
did they become a client? And that's the tricky part is we can put a ton of effort into our SEO settings, but it doesn't really matter how many people we bring to our site. If once they get there, they're like, I don't really understand. This is confusing. I don't see where to book. I'm out of here. So it has to be a combination of good SEO and a site that welcomes people in and makes it easy for them to take action. I think that's it for comments. Yes. Um, Having a Wix blog is compatible with SEO. Yes. Um, but should you ever change your website platform, you're going to have to rebuild that blog. Does that make sense? Okay. Um, keep the questions rolling and I'll just kind of watch them as they come, but I'll keep going here. So let's take a look. So off-page factors, site speed, you can do things about, you can optimize your images. If you're on WordPress, look at your hosting platform, use caching, talk to your web host about how your site speed can improve. If you're on Squarespace, Wix, show it. There's not a whole lot you can do because those are hosted platforms within themselves. They're like self-contained universes. And so they're kind of in control of site speed. The most you can do is make sure that the images you're uploading aren't massive. Why does Google care about site speed? Google likes things to load quickly because it knows that that improves the user experience. And when it shows someone a website, it wants to make sure that they have a good experience. So it wants to make sure your website does what you say you do, and that when they land on your website, they'll have a good experience. So if your website is slow, if it has a ton of broken links, if key information on your site is like buried in the menu 5 links under just to get to your packages and fees, Google's less likely to show you. It's looking for clean, well-organized, simple navigation, fast loading, no broken links sites. Does that make sense? There's great tools out there. You can just Google broken link checker, where you can just add in your site URL and it will scan your whole site for you for free and tell you where all your broken links are. Ta-da! And you will be amazed at how many you have. We all have them. Because the internet keeps changing, right? All right, so that's off page. There's a limit to how much we can do with that. When we come back to on-page optimization, that's where the real magic happens. So what I want to do is share with you guys a site. And I'm going to share screen. So this is a site that I just launched a couple of weeks ago. And they are a doula agency in DC. Now, DC is a little tricky because they've got DC, Virginia, and Maryland to tackle, right? You guys are more embedded in just one state. But up here at the top, this little text here is what we call the H1. So the very first text on your page, visible to clients, needs to be your H1 and it needs to have your primary keyword in it. I'm actually going to give you, well, let me actually pull up a slightly different example. Let's do Northern Virginia. Okay. So in their case, we did location pages. So if you were, let's say you're serving Orlando, but you're also serving some key other surrounding areas in Florida that aren't really considered part of the Orlando metro. In addition to targeting Orlando, you can also do location pages for additional locations. that link back to your service pages. So at the top of any given service page, we want our H1 that has our primary keyword. So in this case, it's Northern Virginia postpartum doulas. And then we're looking for a subheader that has doulas Northern Virginia. So some kind of variation of the keyword in that subheader, and that's what's called an H2. And then in this top text, we're looking for, that should say Northern Virginia. All right, so caring for Northern Virginia area families, Northern Virginia clients, postpartum doulas. So you want to kind of weave elements of that keyword in to that top paragraph. Here we have again, Northern Virginia doula. And then we've got variations on the theme: postpartum doulas, newborn care specialists, registered nurses, nannies. So these are all terms that people are using to search for them. And then we have links to their services. So you can see that we're optimizing their daytime postpartum care page for daytime postpartum doulas. You can see that we're optimizing their overnight page for overnight newborn care. And we threw in night nanny there, even though it's not really something they're actively optimizing for. And then newborn care classes. Now you might say, well, I want to call mine baby care classes or infant care classes. That's where keyword research comes in. And this is going to be different for every single area. So for example, I did research on a site recently, and all over the country, generally placenta encapsulation is the top term for that service. But in this particular community, it was placenta services. For whatever reason, in that region, that's what people type in, not placenta encapsulation. And so you have to do local research to figure out what people in your area are searching for. We've got external links to related services in that area, which may or may not be appropriate for you on your service page, but certainly for a blog post is helpful. Let me find another good example of this I wanted to look at. Let's look at daytime care. So we've got postpartum doula services, the H1. And then we've repeated here, daytime postpartum support. Then we've got DC daytime postpartum doulas. And then subheader postpartum care, right? This is a variation on the keyword. We've included words like newborn, baby, feedings, breast, bottle, new baby. As postpartum doulas, we know that every postpartum baby is different. Contact us for daytime postpartum doula care. So we're incorporating both the primary keyword and adjacent keywords sprinkled through the content. And this generally happens kind of organically, because when we talk about what we do, these words are naturally going to come in. But you'd be amazed at how often somebody will give me content and like they use every single word around the word postpartum doula, but they never actually say they're a postpartum doula. I come to your home and help with baby as your postpartum doula. Or I'll go through an entire page and nowhere does it mention where they are or what their service area is. So I encourage you to go through your content, look for that top H1 header, look for subheaders that also have the primary keyword in it. Look for those words in your content, both the primary word and related words. And then another factor that Google is looking at is how much actual content is on the page. And one of the great things about FAQ is they let you add a whole bunch more content onto a service page without it looking junky or overwhelming, right? Because it closes. And so that can be really good keyword-rich content. And testimonials are also really good sources for increasing page content. And they inherently always have keywords in them because they're talking about your services. So you want to pick one keyword per per page. So I want to show you guys a tool. Goals. So these will be in the research tool that I'm going to send you guys after we finish. But let's do, this is the keyword finder. It's free. Let's type in Orlando doula. And we're going to search within the United States, find keywords. And it's here are the words that it has identified. So Orlando doula gets 300 searches a month, which is great. And oh, it's gone up 15% in search over the past year. That's good. More people are looking for doulas in your area. And right here, this number 4 is golden because that's your keyword density, which means that's how hard it is to rank for. So that's really low. That's good. We want keyword density that's under 20. Doulas in Orlando is its keyword density is so low it's not even measuring it. But it also gets 300 searches a month. Postpartum Doula Orlando gets 30. Black Doula Orlando gets 10 a month. And so you could have an individual page targeting your birth doula services, an individual page targeting postpartum doula services. Let's see, Orlando Birth Doula gets nothing. Interesting. Let's see if we do Orlando Birth. Water Birth Orlando gets 10. So that's a great example of a blog post you could write. Birthing Centers gets 400 searches a month for Birthing Centers Orlando. So a blog post about how to choose between all the great birthing centers and your review of them. Looks to me like you have to use Orlando doulas rather than Orlando birth doulas as your focus keyword here. That doesn't mean you shouldn't use the term birth doula, but Orlando doulas is how humans are using the internet to find you, more so
Sarah,
than birth doula. Yeah.
I'm sorry for interrupting you. So here in Orlando, we've got like Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
And for example, we're the Central Florida Birth Network, which is like it's broad, right?
Yeah.
We go Central Florida could mean Lakeland, which is 50 miles south, or Daytona Beach, which is 50 miles north, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
all of it can be, I think that's an exaggeration of how far Daytona Beach is, but it doesn't matter. Like that can all be
Yep.
Central Florida. Um, so is Orlando the right term, or is it like more appropriate to like think of like your specific area where you live?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So my first answer to that is if you live far enough away from Orlando that you really only want to see people in your immediate area, don't
Sure.
target Orlando, target
Right.
your immediate area.
Yeah.
The likelihood is that there won't be enough search activity to get measurable results on a keyword. But what we also know is that just like when you type in pizza to Google and it isn't giving you pizza in Tampa Bay, it's giving you pizza in your town, right? Doulas also rank as a local service in in Google's eyes, so it's inherently going to give you the most local results it can. And so a lot of people type in pizza near me or birth doula near me, which gets nationwide 750 searches a month. So just using the term birth doula, you don't have to type in birth doula near me. Just using the term birth doula as your primary keyword for that page and making sure that the towns that you do serve or are your priority targets are in your footer and embedded within the content of the page should give you the results that you need.
Awesome. Thank you.
If you're in a major metro area and can use a specific keyword, even better. If we were to look up Daytona Beach, doula, yep. All right, so here's the other catch. With a free plan, there's only so much you can do. So that's the keyword tool. Here's another one. I have a full paid version of this, so I can use this endlessly, but it costs like $1,000 a year, so you guys really don't want it. But you can do 5 searches on it every day for free, and it's incredible. So if we type in Orlando, or sorry,
Also
Daytona,
sends you emails with the free version like once a month, which is nice.
yeah. Daytona Beach doula. Search. Yeah, nothing. Not enough. But if we go to Orlando doula, it's probably going to give us even more data than the last one did. Doula training Orlando. And you'll also notice that between these tools, there'll be kind of widely varying results. So kind of take everything with a grain of salt. Like that last free tool told us there were 300 people a month. This one's saying there's 140. They're all kind of guessing, but lots of good stuff in here. And then behind the scenes, there's the page title and the meta description. So let's look for Chicago doula, just to not call out any of you in your specific sites. So here are, okay, Chicagoland doulas are a great example. So here we have their page title. Here we have their meta description. And this is the URL, the HTTPS www. Whereas Windy City Doulas, see how they've got the page title, but then their meta description is like just random stuff with their contact information. Whereas here, it's a really nice marketing message. Exceptional care, Chicago and suburbs. There's a nice photo. I want to click there. Same with holistic family doulas. Chicago Birthwicks is also good. And so you really want to use that page title to signal to Google what it is that you do. And then the meta description helps encourage people to click. It makes them intrigued and interested. All right. Questions? Seeing a bunch in the chat. Can you label an image doula near me? Yeah. Except you would say, let's say the image was of you assisting at a water birth, and you were targeting the term birth doula on that page. You would say like Chicago or Tampa Bay, Orlando birth doula supporting family having water birth at home. Right? So describe what's happening in the image and then weave in the location and the keyword. And just by doing that, inherently it understands that it's near me because the searcher is in Orlando and so are you. So you don't have to use the near me. Yes, SEMrush will do a full site audit and tell you all the things that are broken on your site. Yeah. No, you do not have to change the name of your website if you move from Wix to Squarespace. You just have to reconnect your domain to the new site. How do we have control over what Google pulls up in search like that? So it depends on your website builder. But if you look up how to set SEO settings on Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, whatever you're using, there will be instructions on how to add your page title and your meta description. That said, Google is its own boss. We are not the boss of Google. And so we can tell it what we want it to share. It doesn't always use the text we give it. So if it thinks there's better text on your site that it wants to use instead, it will do that. And there's nothing you can do to change its mind. Thank you, Google. More questions? And you can unmute as well.
So higher up in the chat, I said, so is it better to have an individual page for each service?
Yes, 100%. So think of if you were to have a service page with like 3 different services on it, there's not enough content about any one of them for Google to like be like, oh, this person does that, that, and that. We need a minimum of like 500 to 1,000 words of content focused on that service alone, fully optimized for that keyword on its own page. So the URL for that page would be birth-doula. The images on that page would be named related to birth doula care. The headers and subheaders, the testimonials, everything is just focused on that one service. You will have a much better chance of showing up in search if you have service-focused pages.
I recently had someone suggest to me that on Squarespace, at least, you can't just like you can't just give your images an alternate title. They have to be like uploaded as the thing that you want. So I spent like 3 days re-uploading every image on my website
Yep.
and having named it something like Orlando Doula.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And so
it,
there's the way you name the image, like
Yeah.
birth-doula-orlando.jpg. But then there's also something called the alt text setting, which you can also do in Squarespace. That is what visually impaired users, that their kind of screen readers are using to tell what the image is about, but Google also reads it.
Yeah, Sarah, yes, I have to do that on the CFBN website too. Yes, I do.
Crap, says
Yeah.
Sarah. I love it. Other questions?
There's one in the chat from Nicole.
Can WordPress do all the same things as Squarespace? Yes, and more. But whereas Squarespace is like a self-contained universe where like there's my shop feature, there's my forms feature, like it's all right there. WordPress, you pick and choose the elements that you want to add in. So they're not inherently part of it. You add in the pieces that you want. Many of them are free. Some are paid. But you get greater breadth of functionality and greater control over design with WordPress. That said, it's not a platform I would recommend to you if you're building your own site. It's much better if you work with someone and then learn how to manage and edit your site yourself once it's built.
I heard someone say that WordPress is like WordPress versus Squarespace is like Android versus Apple. Like Android users want to be able to create everything exactly the way that they want it. They want to have their hands in it. They want to pick and choose everything that they want. And Apple users just want everything to connect to everything else.
Yep. There's truth to that, I think. In recent years, like over the last 2 to 3 years, the platforms have changed enough that I'm actually having many clients who make the switch find WordPress to actually be easier to use. Squarespace is kind of trying to do too much now, and in the process, it's gotten a little clunky. I want to just step back into keywords for a moment. So we talked about having individual service pages. The idea with keywords is we want to use a completely unique keyword for every single page on your site. You don't have to optimize smaller pages like a thank you page or I don't know what an example of a smaller page would be for most of you, but primary service pages, home page, packages and fees, anything like that, you want to optimize it for SEO and have a totally unique keyword. So you might use doula packages for a packages and fees page, or how much does a doula cost? So kind of do some research on what terms people are using in your area for that. And then the same goes for blog posts. So if you're having an active blog strategy, every single post needs to target a totally different and unique keyword. Every single one. And it doesn't have to just be like a 2 or 3 word keyword like birth doula Orlando. It can be a whole sentence like how do I choose a midwife in Orlando? Like you can, and the keyword you might be going for is like midwives Orlando, but you can turn it into a whole sentence because I guarantee you there are people typing in that whole question at 2 a.m. And so look at the questions your clients are wondering about, the local resources you want to talk about, and find ways to create content around that that will allow you to show up not just for your primary service, but a much wider web. And if you think of every blog post you write as another way that people can find you, even if only 2 or 3 people visit that post every month, that's 2 or more, three more people that can find you. And that you don't need 100 clients every month, I don't think, most of you, right? You just need a couple awesome ones. All right. Do you guys want to take a look at some sites? Let's do it. All right, let's look at MOT midwifery first, Mother of Thousands. Great. Whose site is this? Are you on the call?
She's on the call. Her name is Nicole.
Great. Hi, Nicole. So I'm just going to scan through and identify a few quick things that I see right away that would want to be updated. So first, we're using a logo right up here at the top, and we're not right away communicating to people what it is that you do. Midwifery is there, but I don't know anything about what kind of are you a home birth midwife? Are you a hospital CNM? Are you more holistically minded? Are you evidence-based? Like, how do I know where you serve and what exactly it is that you do? And instead, we've got this giant logo that means that we don't have an H1. If I were to look at the code behind your site, let me just see what your H1 is.
Just so
It
that
is-
you have this information, she posted in the chat that her website is under construction.
Great. So for example, the word partnerships is your H1. So this is what Google thinks your site is about, is partnerships. And I see this all the time. You are not alone. I would remove home from the menu. You don't need it there. People can go back to the home through your logo. And we definitely need more content here. It's great that you've got your locations here. But if we go to, let's go to a services page. We want those locations to be at the foot of every page, not just on the home page, so that running across the whole site. I'm also noticing here that the URL for your services page is _4. This often happens when people are building their own sites. They miss the opportunity to name their pages. So make sure you're naming your pages according to the keyword that you want to show up for. So this would be like Orlando-home birth-midwife, for example. Any other questions you want to ask me on this one?
This is great. Thank you so much.
You were welcome. Let's take a look at Moms Get Fit. Woohoo.
Courtney is not on the call, I don't think, but
Okay.
she'll get the recording. So
Okay. So here we have nutrition and fitness for mamas. That's great. But I'm guessing that in search results, mamas isn't the word that people are using. And there's no location here, so we don't actually know where it is. I would add in, and then if we look and see what her H1 is, and I'm just looking at the code behind the site, that's not something I recommend that you do if you want to keep your sanity intact. It's supporting you through pregnancy, postpartum recovery, and beyond. So somewhere down here, this is the H1, this scrolling text. It's not at the top of the page, it's moving. I guarantee Google is not reading it, and it's not actually targeting the primary thing that you do. There's no H2s, which are the subheaders. So one of the things we know about how humans read websites is we scan. We scan just like we would scan a newspaper page back in the old days, and we look for those subheaders to tell us what each section is about. And so we want to use effective H2s going through the page to be like, oh, here's what stage of pregnancy are you? We also want to be careful with our selection of script fonts because legibility goes way down. And people don't stick around on sites that they can't read. We're quite finicky. We usually look at a site and decide whether or not we want to stay there within about 15 seconds. And if we have trouble reading it, we're out of there. Devotion.
This is
Yeah.
Layla. She's also not on the call, but obviously she'll get the recording.
Birth with devotion. What do you guys see missing here?
A location.
Uh-huh. And
And what
it is.
she's doing. Yeah.
It's totally fine to have great, big, beautiful, powerful statements. It's absolutely fine. But right above it, in much smaller font, get in that H1 that's like Orlando home birth midwife. Don't forego having your site work for you in the name of pretty. Clear is always better than clever. So this is great. We've got some locations in here. But I would say even like traditional Louisiana midwifery. I would add in low intervention midwife, not just low intervention. If we look at these pictures, that one is named Devotion Midwifery. That one's named, well, it's hard to tell. They might be named properly. I can't quite see here because of the way her site was built. Buttons. One of the things we know about how people interact with websites is that buttons need to be strong and visible and easy to read. And they also need to be consistent. So whatever your call to action is, if it's book a free consult, you need to use the same design button all the way through the site and ideally use a stronger color than this. So I'd be going maybe more for the darker pink she has up here in the header and make sure the text is larger and more visible. Here she's using one of those buttons just to go to the midwifery page. And what that's doing is it's taking away from what could be a powerful call to action. In fact, there's no calls to action here. And we want people to be able to land on the page and immediately know how to take the next step. So I'm giving kind of design feedback as I go as well as I see things too. Whoops. Once again, I don't think she has locations down in the footer or contact information. If any of you have actual like offices with a street location, one really important thing for you to note is that however you write your address on your Google Business profile should be exactly the same as how you write it on your website and how you write it on your LinkedIn and how you write it on your Match.com. Wherever it is that you have your address listed, it has to be fully identical. So that means if you are on an avenue, you always have to write avenue or you always have to write av, period. You can't switch back and forth. So if you have a street address, please pay close attention to that. This is a good example. All right. So welcome to Paradise Lactation Care. Is Paradise a town?
No, it's just the name of my
That's what this
practice.
is. Okay. So once again, you know what I'm going to say. I would say that you're probably getting a relatively high bounce rate, which means people that land on the site and leave within a minute because of the amount of text up here and the difficulty of reading it. So we never want to layer big blocks of text on top of an image with poor visibility and especially a moving image like this. It's great that you're saying board certified lactation consultant, but that's what needs to be in your H1 up here. You can have it in that paragraph as well, but it needs to be up at the top. I would make these action buttons your blue or maybe the brown for some nice contrast. Great, so you're targeting your counties. If there's a way that right under that, maybe in smaller font, you could include all the towns that you target within that, that would be amazing. You've got a ton of great resources here. So this image here is labeled HTTPS storage instead of your name dash IBCLC. It's a great example of kind of a missed opportunity in image naming. What do these do? Are these buttons?
No, they're just for aesthetic.
Okay.
They go nowhere.
So what they're doing is they're frustrating me as a user. So there's something called rage clicks, where when we think something should be a button and we're like, click, 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 and it's not going anywhere, we're like, oh, this website's broken, off to the next one. So I would encourage you to not have these as hover links or looking like buttons. And have like a subheader that says like common lactation or breastfeeding challenges I, can help with. And then a list with kind of bullet points, because this is 100% a button in my mind. Ooh, verify your insurance. Great. So this is a great example of a page that could be targeted. You can probably find a keyword around like, does insurance cover lactation? Or insurance for lactation services, or insurance lactation consultant, that kind of thing. If you can't find a keyword in your research that actually matches what you're looking for, use your common sense. I call it intuitive SEO. If you were one of your clients, what would you search for to find this result? And you can even type in insurance lactation consultant. Orlando, let's do. And see who's getting results. So Holly Hugh is getting results for that because she's talking about how insurance covers it. Orlando Lactation is getting, so other local lactation consultants are getting results for that, which means you can as well. Any other questions you have on your site?
No, I'll start there. Thank you.
You're welcome. Da, 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 da. Chi consciousness. We're cruising. All right. So, Georgiana, are you on the call?
I am.
Awesome. So my first hit on this site is I'm overwhelmed. And I have to scan way too much content to figure out what it is that you do. So not only does Google have to know what you do, but clients have to be able to easily scan it and do the same. So having this much text in smaller font and in kind of big blocks and columns like this is going to be overwhelming, and I'm guessing even more so on mobile. I'm not sure how this site performs on mobile, but I'm guessing it kind of goes this left column all the way down, then this middle column, and this right column. And that's a lot of reading for them to do without a lot of formatting. I see you've got a location here, which is awesome. Again, I would encourage you to go through all your online listings and make sure that address is written the same in every single place. I would make these more legible as well. And you've got fascia and energy bodywork, Reiki, craniosacral, and Eden energy. So you need to decide between all of these different things what your primary thing is that you want to be found for. Do you know what that is off the top of your head?
Uh, well, I guess keyword might be energy healing or energy
Okay.
medicine.
Great. So you would use your location together with that and do a little bit of research to see what terms people actually use for that, if they're more likely to use energy medicine or energy healing. Remember, just like in birth, we might use the word perinatal, clients will never use it. So pay attention to words that you use versus what clients might be using. They usually are different. Any other questions you have right off the bat for your site, Georgiana?
Not right this moment, no.
Okay. Also pay attention to how your pages are named. So like this one is infant, pre, and perinatal, but I don't know infant, pre, and perinatal what. So you're targeting cranio, energy body work, infant massage, postpartum body work. That's too many services on one page. So those would, if you're wanting to independently market each of those, they need to have their own platforms.
Okay, thank you.
556. We're going to do 1 minute each on these next two sites. Happy waves. Okay. Once again, we're missing an H1. These H1s are almost universally missing. Like I could randomly Google 20 different doula websites across the nation and 18 out of 20 are missing the H1 because nobody knows about it. This is a lost opportunity for a subheader, who we are. So what would we use instead? What's an idea?
Local Orlando doula. Meet your local Orlando doula.
Bingo, beautiful. I would weave the word Orlando, if that's the target market, into this paragraph text. Overall, contact us is a weak call to action. Think through what you want people to do. Are they booking a free consult? Are they filling out an intake form? Be a little more specific than that, so people kind of are on a path. So we're missing the H1, but I do like Birth Your Way and Choose a Doula that empowers you. Just make sure your H1 has your service and your location. So here's another great missed opportunity, our doula philosophy. Skip Happy Waves doula services. You've already said that a few times earlier, and just go, we believe Orlando mothers should feel. Services, so this is a whole page on services. And I'm guessing it links through, and they're linking there, so that's good. It's okay to have this kind of summary page linking through to them, but I would add in some descriptive text about them and not have them in a row like this, but rather kind of across in like a grid, 1, 2, 3, and 3 columns. This form, I don't know what it wants me to do. So make that clear. But I do like that you have individual pages for each of these. But look, our name here is birth. So nobody's typing in birth to find you. They're typing in birth doula. We've got a broken image here. So here's another great example. So what we know about how people interact with sites is they don't like big blocks of text. Big blocks of text make our eyes glaze over and we're out of there. So we want smaller little chunks. So divide it up, add bullets, add occasional bolded lines, italic lines, anything you can do to make the kind of different key parts stand out and to kind of make the user experience a little friendlier to the eye. Because how long people stay on your site actually is measured by Google and impacts your SEO. Also, when you're doing bullet lists like this, once again, we leave sites when we see super long bullet lists. You want to simplify this to no more than 3 to 5 bullets if you can. So maybe do like themed bullets, like prenatal, and then the bullets under that, birth, and then bullets under that. Yeah.
I am giggling so hard to myself. You don't have to, that is my website. We don't have to go over mine because I'm gonna I because I'm wordy. I'm a wordy girl.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just giggling. Clarice popped a question into the chat that I think is interesting.
Mhm.
What's the best way to handle her website because she works out of Florida half the year and Minnesota the other half?
Minnesota. I do hope you choose the right seasons to do so. I used to live in Minnesota, so I can say that. Yeah, totally fine. So you would optimize your homepage for both states. And then just like you saw on that Metropolitan Doula site, you would have a service page for Minnesota, a service page for Florida, and then your actual service pages, let's say you do birth doula care and postpartum doula care, you would have a page for each of those, but you're not optimizing them for a single location. So the service pages themselves, you're optimizing for that service, as though somebody were typing in birth doula near me. And then from that page, you can have a link to each of your location pages. And on that location page, you would want to be like, hey, like, I love working with Minnesota clients. I'm based in Minneapolis. Here are the following suburbs that I also attend births at. Here are the hospitals I work at. Here are blog posts I've written that are all about birthing in Minnesota. Here are great resources in Minnesota. So you kind of create a Minnesota rich page and a Florida rich page that link back to your service pages, and the service pages link to your location pages. And you can use the same exact technique if you have a large service area that you want to target, even within Florida.
Thank
They're
you.
called location pages. If you Google location pages, you'll find a ton of information on it on the internet.
Nicole, did you still have a question? Okay, I'm gonna say no.
Sorry, I didn't realize my hand was still raised.
All right. Let's see. Do we have time for me to look at these two final sites?
I have time, if you have time, and then whoever needs to pop off can pop off. And that's really
All right. Well, let me kind of tell you what happens next. So I have a PDF guide I'm going to send you guys with a checklist for all the things you need to make sure are in place, both on your pages and on your blog posts and behind the scenes on your website, along with free resources that you can use to help build your search engine optimization. Anna just added a website. And this is a lot. We've covered a lot in a very short period of time. But there's a ton of great free SEO resources out there. I do offer SEO packages, doing both keyword research for your primary site, but then also blog strategy packages where I help identify good things for you to be blogging about if you want to make the most of your blog efforts. So I'll send you guys information on all of that. There's also a fantastic SEO course that I can recommend that's done by another wonderful woman I work with. And I'll send you information on her things as well. She has a 1-year program where you can do all sorts of great online video tutorials. And then there's monthly coaching calls, and they'll actually give you live feedback on your efforts, which is amazing. So I will send you all the good stuff. And if you are interested in working with me, just reach out and I'm happy to talk with you. Any other final questions before I jump into these final sites that people have added into the mix? We good? All right. Well, thank you all for being here. I'm going to go through these final sites, and everybody's welcome to stay, and we'll keep recording. So if you do have to take off, you can watch these final ones later. Let's take a look here at Nurture and Nourish. All right. Way too much space added up here in the header. We need people to be able to get to the content faster. Also, don't put social media icons up here in the header because they literally send people away from your site. They just landed on your site. Don't send them away. Then they get lost in Facebook and you never see them again. Keep them on your site, put social media icons down at the bottom. I love that you've got book your introductory call up here. That's awesome. One of the best things we can do to keep people on the site is making it really easy to see how to take action. This is fantastic. Keep it, 100% love it. It totally gives me the vibe and the feeling of the site, but again, we're missing an H1. So just a tiny little H1 above it. Too much text centered. Another thing we know, once again, is that people leave sites when they're too hard to read, and our eyes don't like centered text because we can't tell where it starts and ends, and we have to go back and forth like a zigzag reading pattern. We get tired and we leave. So don't do big blocks of centered texts. There's no mention here of where you're working or what your service is. I would add in a location here. Ideally, this is a great opportunity to add in a picture for each service. So it's a little more user-friendly, and all those images can be optimized to those services and linked as well. When you look at your testimonials, it's okay to do minor edits to them to throw in a keyword or two. So Clarice was there every step of the way, providing confident postpartum doula support. So it's okay to kind of throw keywords in there to clarify. And H2, meet Clarice, certified postpartum doula. You might also want to kind of bold these to help them stand out because those are really relevant. This paragraph is too long. Again, break it up. I love that if you've got these logos, that's fantastic. Another element in SEO is external links and trust building. And so when people land on the site and see external logos that kind of, or prizes you've won, or media mentions, those kinds of things, those can be helpful. And this looks like it's not linking, but you could do an external link so it opens in a new tab to Doula. This is great. So ultimately, oh, here we go, Florida and Minnesota. So down here, I'd want to see a link to your Minnesota page, a link to your Florida page. I love that you've got the services link down here. This is another really good move for SEO. Google likes it when our pages are interlinked and interwoven. And so when we include a submenu of our services in the footer, it tells Google that all these services are related to one another, and it helps reinforce kind of the integrity of your site and boosts your rankings. So this is awesome. Another note, and this is kind of higher level strategy, but there is an element of how accessible is your site that Google also measures to determine your ranking. And if there isn't sufficient contrast between the colors of your site and the text for anybody using a screen reading device because of visual or other impairment, it can impact your rankings. And so, for example, this isn't legible enough. This is lost. And my guess is the boldness of this text isn't enough against this pink. My guess is this font is a little bit too small for Google. And so paying attention to making sure that your site is really easy to read makes a difference. Same goes for reading level. As Tamara said, she's really wordy. We also all tend to write at much higher education levels than we should. Google actually for SEO wants our sites to be at around a reading level of grade 8. Grade 8. Short sentences, simple words. Doula's Uncharted. You know what I'm going to say about the H1.
You lost your screen share, I think.
Oh, sorry. Ding. This is too big an image and an image that I can't tell what it is. So there's no, like, make sure that when somebody lands on your site, there's that instance of like, oh, I know what I'm looking at. That's awesome. I love that photo. That photo makes me feel however you want people to feel. So I'd rather not have an image at all than have an image that people can't see what it is, because it will increase your bounce rate of people just leaving. So again, color contrast for legibility and accessibility of your site. This is a missed opportunity to have an external link. Again, text color. So this would be, where are you based? East Central. So I would want to see town names, not just counties. And another great way to kind of signal local location would be, for example, blog posts about a particular local hospital or birth center. Tamara's laughing. Are there some things you want to say?
Just don't know that it would help me professionally.
It doesn't have to be like a scathing review. It could be like, here's my top doula tips if you're birthing at Tampa Bay Memorial. I'm just making a hospital up, right? Like, here's where the balls are. They've got heated blankets, ice chips, whatever the things are.
We can talk about how Winnie is the only hospital with a walking epidural. That is technically true.
Uh-huh.
Don't have to say anything else about it.
That
Just
is
leave it
technically
there.
true. Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
Here's
See?
what a walking epidural is. Yep.
Creative truth, my friends.
You got it. You got it. This is a missed opportunity for a subheader, right? And if I were to look behind the scenes on this site, so you've got the title on your site. So the page title is Uncharted Doula Services, which isn't telling Google where you are or much at all about your services.
Well, she's uncharted. I really had to do it. I'm so
No,
And
that was
then
really good. That was good.
your meta description is actually quite good, but it's a little generic. A doula located in the Central Florida area. So I would say, like, whatever your primary town is, doula providing birth doula support for all types of families, etc. Services page, again, too generic, too long bullet lists, too much text. Are you starting to see the patterns? Yep. Mind, body, motherhood. There we go. I'm going to share again. Whose site is this? Anna. All right.
Mine.
So perfect. Doula massage and hypnosis for pregnancy, birth, and postpartum. Boom. I know what you do.
Anna is our resident like marketing and social media guru. So I'm keeping an eye open. Anna.
The only thing we're missing is location, but this is
I-
awesome. I love that you have a giveaway here, except you're taking away from what your primary call to action is. So what do you want people to do? Do you want them to book a free discovery call? Do you want them to fill out an intake form? What's the number one action?
Actually, it's all changing now, so I'm going to be switching it back to be focused on massage, and then that's going to funnel them through the other services.
Okay, so it's going to be book a massage. And still include what's called a transitional call to action, which is your free giveaway, but a little bit lower on the page.
So swap them.
Don't swap them, move that lower.
Okay.
And then instead of learn more, it would be book a massage.
Book a massage.
You want this to be action, not learn more.
Okay.
Add a location in here.
I also just got a location, so that's why it hasn't been updated. It's very minimal.
You've got like an actual street location?
Yeah.
Awesome. Get that on your site and your Google business page and everywhere else as soon as you can. These, I'm guessing, are not H2s. It's not measuring. Make sure these are H2s.
Okay.
Buttons are also a chance to weave in a keyword. So like Discover hypnosis for birth,
Okay.
for example, could be the button rather than just learn more.
Okay.
And are you doing hypnosis sessions? Are you teaching hypno babies or hypnobirthing classes?
Hypnosis sessions.
Okay, so hypnosis sessions during pregnancy, just give it a little more context.
Perfect.
So this is your new location? Awesome.
With the emails, yep.
I think your newsletter is too big here. I would just have it be a simple button. People aren't going to join it in general without a free giveaway. So
Should
I
I,
would
sorry,
do
should
the,
I bring the audio down here?
yeah, but do it in a different background color.
Okay.
So it's kind of its own featured row. And then just have a button going to a page with the join our newsletter.
Okay.
And then use that footer to be a little more manageable and, bring in that kind of services menu, the towns you're serving, etc.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any others in the list? Tamara, am I missing any?
There's one more,
Uh-huh.
tolbirth.com.
Great. Central Florida's, okay. What's our H1? Let's find out. Have the type of birth you've always wanted. We've got birth in there, but that's not your H1. So, Kat, you're nodding. Is this your site?
Yeah, that's ours. It's pretty old. This is from 2010.
Okay.
Never been changed.
That's remarkable for 2010. Congratulations. So make that your H1, and it would be, where are you actually located?
We're in Altamont.
Great. So Altamont Birth Center serving Central Florida would be what I would do for your H1. And then I think this is awesome. Just make it an H2. I think in your case, having 2 calls to action is fine. Because they're both kind of really relevant and feed into one another. From a accessibility standpoint, these are completely illegible. These need to be a darker color, and your logo is also getting lost. So I want to see some text down here in the footer that runs across the whole page that includes your, like, we have clients come to us from the following towns.
Okay.
So midwifery services, not just services. Too big a block of text. This isn't really talking about giving birth at a birth center. It's more just about midwifery care. So I would actually kind of really focus in a bit more on the birth center experience here. These are too big. Make sure these are H2s. Text too small, text too long, a little bit of both. And do you have a page on gynecology?
We don't have a separate one, no.
Yeah. So if that's a service you want to market, definitely add one. Are you doing IUI?
We are, yes.
So I would recommend a whole page devoted to fertility and IUI care in addition to a gynecology page, because there's good keywords around IUI.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out like where to put that because that's like the laser helps with not only the skin, but like it's gonna go with the well woman gynecology because you use it mostly for urinary incontinence is what we're an atrophy. So
All right, so I would
Yeah.
include that in there.
okay.
And I would have a whole page about it, and don't include this much detail here. Let the homepage not be like an in-depth services page. Let it just be little blurbs. These should link through to those pages. You might consider you've already got kind of a Brady Bunch. For those of you that are old enough to even know what I'm talking about, you've already got a Brady Bunch grid going on here.
Yeah.
So you don't really need this, right? That's kind
Okay.
of repeating what you already have. Our birth center. You might also want to add a tour the birth center page.
Okay.
Those also tend to do well. But yeah, for a site that's 2010, well done. Okay, I'm
Awesome.
impressed.
Thank you.
Most
Yeah.
sites, just so you all know, have a lifespan of about 3 years. So before you need to do a significant refresh.
I'm sorry. We had one more drop in the chat. I don't know if you have another
Empower
5 or
location.
10 minutes. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Empower location. So we just need that H1. I'm guessing right now it's empowering nursing mamas. Yep. All right, I love this call to action, but it's getting lost when we hover over it. So for user experience, you need to make it a darker color for legibility on hover. Location somewhere up here for sure. Shannon, I want to meet you because I'm hiring you as my lactation consultant. So I'd love to have your picture and a little description of kind of what your approach is or your history, because I'm trusting something really important to you. So having an eye contact facing photo here is good. I love that you've got your name and your IBCLC here. But I'd like to have a little more on kind of how you help people, what kinds of problems you can help with. So if somebody's typing in like Orlando mastitis, you have a better chance of showing up. Insurance eligibility is awesome, but that's going to another site. So I would actually do a page about insurance eligibility for lactation, not just direct out to other sites. That's also going to give more weight to your site so that your site has more pages of content. Contact me is the same as what's on the homepage, I think. So I would just amp up the homepage content and then link to the page, the contact me. What we do, these should be H2s if they're not. And they should have buttons linking through. Make sure there are links. Google wants to see really simple, clear navigation. And I would change this to Orlando area lactation services, something like that. Meet your lactation consultant rather than just about Shannon, and then Shannon and your last name and maybe your credentials. And then you can go into this information here. Yeah, so like all this great insurance content should be on an insurance page. I love that you've got the map here. So that's another really simple, easy win for you guys, is to include the map actually ideally down in your footer so it appears across the page. And if you've got a Google business page, you can actually just go to Google Maps and it'll give you a share code to embed your map of your service area. It's really, really good. I love that you've got these links here and they are linking to the outside things. So these are partners, but you've got them opening in a new tab. So that's perfect. They're not leaving your site to go there. You've got an as featured in, that's amazing. Google loves stuff like this. But your footer is lacking, right? We need locations, we need contact information. I need to know how to find you, how to book, a book now button, all those things. Because people know that if they want to take action, they need to go down to the footer to find those key bits of information they need. Whew.
Thank you so much.
You are most welcome. Thank you for having me. I hope by looking at all those sites, you guys got some good kind of repetition of like, oh, yeah, that's what's missing. And you'll start to be able to kind of look at your own site with fresh eyes. I would strongly encourage you to make some updates to your own sites and then find a partner in this group to critique each other's sites and put on that beginner kind of sunglasses and imagine that you're a potential client and what their experience might be. And there's a lot we can do for each other.
Amazing.
All right.
Amazing. So Sarah will send all of the things that she mentioned and I will decimate it out to everybody. Is it the right word for that? Decimate?
No, because that means you're going to destroy it. You're going to disseminate it.
Disseminate. I will
please don't decimate
disseminate
it.
all of the information out to everybody.
Including the
And
recording.
including the
We'll send you.
recording. Yeah. And we'll have this for everybody who registered. And thank y'all for coming and thank you for your time and your energy.
Mhm.
Thanks, Sarah.
And thanks for being vulnerable with your lovely websites.
Thank you.
All right, my dears.
Thank
I'm
you.
here as a resource and support. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time. Bye, y'all.
You're most welcome. Okay, I've stopped recording.
Thank you.